When someone gets cheated, that person gets upset because he or she realizes that they have been foolish enough to be tricked by someone. Hey, this is me, Nivya, and today I'm going to review 4 books by Sudha Murthy, a person whom I really admire a lot. Sudha Murthy's books are all very simple in terms of language, and hence they are all very apt for people who want to start reading simple and easy language books. Today I'm including short stories, novellas, fictions, non-fictions, all these categories of books of hers. So let's begin with a non-fiction. The first book is A Day I Stopped Drinking Milk, life stories from here and there. This book is a collection of 23 short stories, real life stories of certain people whom the author has encountered in her life over the years. They are all ordinary people, yet the stories are extraordinary in one or the other way. The stories are all very diverse, and hence you won't get bored at all. You can actually complete reading this book in one stretch. What I also really liked about this book is that there are certain stories which have stories within itself. Like for example, there is a story named Shraddha which has a part which can be a story by itself. I'll tell you what that story is. It shows how illogical people have become and how people just blindly follow certain things. The story goes like this. There was a man who used to do puja on a daily basis. He had a cat which used to trouble him every time he does puja. So he told his son to tie the cat and offer it milk every time he does puja. Few years later, the man and the cat died. So the son took over the puja. Now what the son did is, every time he does a puja, he brings a cat from his neighborhood, ties it, pours milk so that the cat can drink milk while he does a puja. Now this is how a meaningless ritual has originated. In another story, Sudha Murthy mentions about a youngster whom she had offered help to complete his education, that is by monetary aid. After years, he completed his education, he becomes very successful, and they two meet each other, while the man pretends to not even recognize Sudha Murthy. This clearly shows how certain people consider taking help as a burden after they become successful. She also mentions that certain people remind her that she's like a water tap in a dry area, unthanked if it runs, and if it doesn't, cursed. Now coming to the story that made me a bit confused is A Day I Stopped Drinking Milk. I loved that particular story. It's just that the last line made me think, that question as in why did she actually stop drinking milk? What I understood from that particular story is to be mindful and to bring less troubles into others' life, to not bring troubles or otherwise make it minimal. But for that, why did she stop drinking milk? I would have understood if she stopped drinking milk while going to others' home who cannot afford it, or you're just not asking for milk when you go to other person's home. But why did she stop drinking milk at her home also? I didn't understand that. Or probably is it just that, it's not being mentioned that, I stopped drinking milk while I go to others' home? That remained as a question to me. So let me know what you understood from that, or let me know through the comment section if you've read that. Something Happened on the Way to Heaven, 20 Inspiring Real Life Stories. Now this book is a collection of again some real stories, but not Sudha Murthy's, but it's some other people's, and they are all very much related to empathy, kind, and some stories about some real good humans. The stories are all compiled and edited by Sudha Murthy. I liked most of the stories in this book, but my favorite one is Father's Reading Classes. Let me know which you liked if you've read this book. There's also a story named The Dakha Girl in this book, and there's a part in this story, a story within the story, which I really liked a lot. It celebrates the pleasure of giving, and it goes like this. There's a girl named Meera who meets a bangle seller on road crying. So then she goes and asks him what happened, and then he mentions that he was unable to sell even one bangle the entire day. So he wants money basically. So then she offers him food instead, because she did not have anything else to offer him. She did not have money with her. Then the man tells her that you take a few bangles instead, because he did not have anything else to give her. So take a few bangles and then you can offer me food. Then she states that if you insist in me taking the bangles, it means that you're taking away the pleasure of giving from me. And that is something which I really liked. It's such a beautiful thing to even think about. Again, this book also has a lot of different stories and hence they won't make you bored at all. The only common thread line is the goodness in human hearts. With that, let's go to some fictional books of Sudha Murthy. Bahu. This book was originally written in Kannada and has been prescribed as a textbook for undergraduate students in certain Karnataka universities. The story is about a lady named Gauriamma who behaves very differently with her two daughter-in-laws. One daughter-in-law is settled in US and is very rich, and Gauriamma is very much affectionate towards her, while the other daughter-in-law does not even get a pinch of affection from Gauriamma. I actually started liking this book more towards the midway of it. That is when Gauriamma goes to US. While I liked a lot of things about this book, there's something that I really disliked as well. Certain points that I liked about this book is one, the culture difference that is being shown, that is between US and India. It's very well written. And for example, there's one point which mentions about old age home, like the difference, how it is being considered in India as punishable, while in US it's just so normal, like people live individually there until they are healthy, and once they are unhealthy, they go to old age homes and take it as an advantage to meet people of their own age. The second point is that there are a lot of relatable characters and relatable situations. Like for example, one of the characters mentions that it's best to actually meet your relatives at functions rather than inviting them home or going to their home, because you have to do a lot of extra work when you're inviting relatives to your home or when you're going to their home. For some weird reasons in India, even now, ordering food from outside when guest comes home is not that inviting. So all these are covered in this book so well. And another point which I really liked in this book, that is something which I abide by as well, is that respect is something that you need to give to someone who deserves it, and it's not proportional to age. Now coming to the point which I did not like much in this book. In order to make Gauriamma realize that the first daughter-in-law, who is not rich, is good, what Sudha Murthy has done is portray the second daughter-in-law, who is settled in US, who is rich, who is modern, with a negative shade. Now that is completely stereotyped, and you've literally seen a lot of movies also with the same plot, that you portray the modern character with a negative shade so as to make the third person realize that the person who is not modern is good. I really hoped that Sudha Murthy took a different approach altogether, wherein she portrayed both the daughter-in-laws in a good shade and still made Gauriamma realize that the first daughter-in-law is also good. That track would have elevated the story into a different altitude altogether. That would have been really great. With that, let's go to the next book, House of Cards. This book is about a lady named Meera whose joys are not at all related with material things. She marries a person who is also very much similar, Sanjay. But as years pass by, as Sanjay gets a better job, a better earning, he gets into that rat race and then he changes. His joys becomes proportional to the material things that he has in his life. And hence, Meera gets into a challenging stage of her life, and then it's about how she tackles it. Though the storyline of this book is very good, the book is not that gripping. I felt it just okay. In fact, as I reached 70% of the book, I felt like giving it up because it was kind of boring. In fact, this is the one book which I disliked the most out of all Sudha Murthy's books. I personally like Sudha Murthy's non-fictions than fictions. She has some great experiences that we can just read and read. And those experiences did not just come to her by chance or by luck. It is something that she grabbed and she worked for. She's a philanthropist and she has really worked for getting those experiences. She's definitely an amazing person. Definitely someone we can just look up to. With that, this is me, Nivea, signing off. Keep reading some amazing books and take care. Happy reading.